Alrighty, welcome into the video. Today's video I'm going to talk about some deep wisdom that I've come into contact with that is going to motivate you to move you forward in your life. I want to stay grounded and stay clear, so I'm going to do my best to channel the video exactly the way that I need to channel it. Yet I do struggle because I am more feminine in my approach at times and my mind's logic gets a little bit irrational, okay? So wisdom, the love for wisdom, priority, value it, know it, be a part of it, right? So let's find something I can use now in our nature to do this example. What I realize is ants don't like to be picked up. Okay. I wanted to pick up an ant, okay? I wanted to pick up an ant and I wanted to say, imagine you were this ant, okay? So you're this ant, imagine. I'm gonna put a picture of an ant. This is you. This is you. This is you, okay? So you're this little ant in this ant colony and all around you is a bunch of ants, but you're in your colony, right? You're in your ant colony with your other ants around you and you're looking around and they're doing their ant thing. They're doing their ant thing. And you're just like, yep, that's how ants do it. Yep, that's how ants do it. Yep, that's how we do it. That's how we do it. And I now do it that way. So I become this ant that's part of this ant colony doing the thing that the ant colonies are doing around me. Now let's say I go to another colony. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna decide to just go to this colony to see what they're like, you know, just to see what it's like. And in this ant colony, they're all ants. They all look just like me. They're all anty. They look a little bit different. Maybe some are red, some are black, whatever color they are. And they don't do the same things that me and my ants did. They act differently than us. They eat differently than us, they move differently than us, they talk differently than us, they smell differently than us, they poop differently than us. I don't know if they poop differently than us, but you know what I'm saying. They behave differently than us, and they function. And it's functioning in that way that's different than my way, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it because it threatens my sense of anthood, of how I see how ants are. I'm gonna go back to my ants because those are weird outside ants and I don't like them. They're 20 minutes away from you. They're 1 minute away from you. They're 5 minutes, they're the next door fucking neighbor. Okay? Now, this ant here, who you are, is having an issue, because if those ants are anting and they're different but they're anting like that, then that means that my anting, my sense of self, isn't the only true way, isn't how ants function, isn't how all ants function. Okay, so then you go to another ant colony and they're doing something different, and you're going to another ant colony and they're doing something different, and your sense of self starts to break down because you're like, what the fuck, I'm not the right way. How mommy did it, how mommy ant did it wasn't right, or wasn't the only way. Not right or wrong, but wasn't the only way. There's infinite amounts of ways that I could have done it. And now I kind of have to expand my sense of self in order to incorporate all of human life that is doing things in their anti way. And because I still believe that there is only, you know, certain ways of how ants should do it, because my sense of self is built on those ways, I may be triggered by other ants that are not doing it the way that I do it, and that would cause me to feel like, what the heck? Why are they doing this to me? Why are they acting that way? I don't like them. And our opportunity then now would be why? You know, getting curious as to why we don't like that ant. Why don't we like that ant? You know? Is that ant bothering me because that ant is different than me? And then why is that bothering me that they're different than me? And then this is when you start to form an exploration on your anti mind. And your ant mind starts to change and it starts to shift and evolve. And it starts to incorporate more self in it, more selfhood in it. Because it starts to see that the ones that you believed were separated from you weren't actually separated from you. You were part of a whole system. Okay, so if I'm part of a whole system, then that means I have an effect on the entire whole, and the whole has an effect on me. Bigger than me. It's bigger than me. It's beyond me. The whole life is beyond who I am. And so the ant either has an existential crisis, or then the second effect is they have an existential crisis, so they have a breakdown of self, and then their sense of self expands to incorporate more antes, more of life. And because of that, they become more life. They become more available for more life, and they become more whole and holy in life. Because they're not this small little ant living in a bubble anymore. Now the bubble popped, and then now they're part of a larger bubble. Something bigger, something universal, something larger than them. And they can hold space for more differences and more ants doing different things. Even if it hurts them because they're scared, they can still do it because they're shifting now. They're shifting to a grander self. So, that's the process of wisdom, right? Going beyond this little bubble and expanding to a larger thing so you could grasp more truth about life and reality. Because that's what really, to me, brings a lot of meaning to life. What is the meaning of your life? If you feel like your life is meaningless and that there's no thing, I would just say, get out of your fucking bubble. Go be a part of something bigger. Because that's in line with wisdom. That's in line with the principles of wisdom. Beyond you, beyond your ant self. Ants don't know if, I don't know if ants are really worrying about this. But this ant worries about it. Because this ant realizes that the limitations on her mind are not allowing her to see the bigger picture, and that's frustrating. When she cares about wholeness and wisdom and truth and reality and integrity and oneness and understanding life for what it is beyond herself, because she's tired of living only in her own little space. Even though she doesn't want to let it go fully yet, right? Because it's very hard to let go of who we once were. And of course, we need to build some sort of sense of self in order to function and live and have some point of reference, right? You know, there's a little bit of point of reference here in order for functioning and behavior-wise. But for the most part, how we lived and grew up is completely, it might not be completely different, but it is different than how other people grew and lived up. And if we think that our way is the only right, true way, we create a separation between us and them and me, us, other. And that separation actually causes us to cripple the truth and evaluate the situation in a way that's poor. We can't see clear. That brings me to my next point. If somebody triggers you, there's a shadow. You know, I have a ant in my home that is not functioning in the way that can be beneficial to her life. That can move her forwards, that can help other people, that can see the world more, that could be a part of human existence, could create a good life for herself. She's not changing, she's stuck in her ways, she doesn't want to move on, she doesn't want to move forwards. And if you relate to this, please comment below. If you have a family member of another ant that you really love and deeply care about, but they are not shifting, they are not changing, they're stuck, and they're wasting their precious gift. And when you watch this happen, this creates this frustration and sadness inside you because it's someone you love. But it also motivates you to say, that's not what I want, right? This will move you forwards. When our family or somebody in our ant colony doesn't love reality or can't see beyond their own bubble, and they're suffering a lot because of that. Of course, because they're trying to maintain a sense of self that's limited. We can't get them to come out of that bubble unless they decide. So we could show them the world. Yeah, I can show you the world. But their sense of self won't change unless they're the actual ones taking on that journey and moving into that journey. Now, I just had a point come through where I'm gonna say it. So, you know, let's say your mother always told you to be yourself, to be your unique self, to be yourself, to be your true self, right? But your true self was built in a colony of other selves that created your sense of self. And that self isn't who you are. That was the identity that was built for you around your ant colonies, around your peoples. Good morning. And that sense of self almost limits you at this point because it doesn't fit into the world that you want to create. You know, your sense of self starts to change. Maybe your ant colony friends don't like it that much. They're like, why is she different? She's not fitting in with the colony anymore. They kind of start to reject you. They don't really like you. And you start to individuate, you know, and they don't really like that because it's different than what they knew. But again, you're healing them because you're popping them out of a bubble. Even by being you, you're popping them out of a bubble. So for anybody that's struggling with family members who are stuck in their ways and really can't, I hope that gives you some help and inspiration that even though you are changing and evolving, they can still see you and they can get some healing from that. Just from you being different, just from you facing the truth, just from you going and setting out on a different path, they can get some healing from that, and that can bring them into more wholeness, and that can ultimately bring them closer to God. And so we can go esoteric, right, on this channel, because we love each other, because we're one. We're one here, we could go esoteric, right? So that's the beauty of that. That's it. Have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon, morning, day, evening. I'm like one of those like spiritual YouTubers. It's like my arms in namaste. In namaste, like come here, come with me, and namaste with me in the parks of Florida, sweating my fucking tuchus off. That, oh my god, that is something I find out so huge, that people that are in their bubble make huge deals out of things that are not a big deal. Like they're like the trash can being like not filled. They'll be like, why didn't you cover the trash can? It's like the littlest things when they're in their bubble versus when you're outside the bubble and you realize there's fucking people sleeping on the streets, shooting up fucking shit in their arms. And they don't got support, no one's helping them. And babies on the streets. You know, the places where people like that don't have, that are like, you know, the pyramid in society, and they're on the bottom, and they get like, they go to the libraries and different things, like those things are like starting to not allow. These are problems. These are problems in the world that need help. That need conscious effort and help and direction and love to move forward. They need truth. The peoples need truth. And people can't see that. It's frustrating. When people can't see that, it's very frustrating. And it creates a healthy anger where it's like, come on, wake up. Wake up. And yet, wisdom, grace, beauty, love, and divinity also brings in patience, right? Compassion, frustration, because, come on, this deep knowing that who you are is a part of something greater. Is going to bring you into more wisdom. I love you. I don't know you, but I love you. I see clear right now. I know the truth is here, even if I want to believe it. And I actually can almost fine-tune my consciousness. To melt fully into reality right now. Almost like a psychedelic. But it's just me, sober. Love you. I said that already. Do you know that's programming? Do you know that's programming? Need some sort of... I'm just gonna go.